How was the Great Escape, by the way?
Oh yeah, that was really
that?
cool. It was so good. I played in the Queen's Hotel in a room that last year I went to the Great Escape, and I was like, I'd love to play a show in here, and like that's where I played. It was one of those crazy moments, like, oh my god, like I can't believe I've actually done this, and that had been such a big goal to play the Great Escape forever. And I always describe it's like the South by Southwest of the UK. You know, everybody in the industry is there, and like you meet so many cool people. But it was really huge, and the room was packed, which I was excited about. Again, I was scared of that because it was like in the afternoon, and I was like, are people going to come in the afternoon? But they were all there, and I made a bunch of like I guess new fans. I had some people actually come up to me saying that they came specifically for my set because they like my music, and I was like, whoa. Like that still, it just like blows your mind, like every one person like that. You're like,
and the dynamic is, the Great Escape is a weird dynamic because it's a music festival. So anyone can just buy a ticket and you can see all these artists, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's where all the music industry goes to just get drunk as a holiday.
Really?
Yeah.
oh
It's
yeah.
like-
my god, it's just a drunk industry.
So you'll
music
just have like regular people that came to see her, but the whole room is full of executives.
Yeah.
So like it's not really a crowd that
It's
you're
weird.
trying to like that. Woo! They're not going to be doing that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
They're
So
like managers, A&Rs, and like random people.
it's where you pick up everyone. Like it's where people get discovered in a lot of ways, right? But then you also have bigger artists like Unknown T, Miss Banks, Arlo Parks. They all had like headline shows.
But all of the big companies take over different bars and have like open bars. So all the music industry people with the delegate passes or whatever, like
You have to be invited. You have to RSVP. You have to be approved for certain things. But every major music company, label, executive will aim
you
to
gotta
be
go
there.
next year. You
But
gotta come down.
Interesting.
Where was it? Sorry.
Brighton.
Wow, okay.
Like
Yeah,
y'all
yeah.
could just get it like an Airbnb and do a bunch of Slime Talk interviews down there on Great Escape weekend.
Yeah,
That,
that'd be
hey,
crazy.
yo, that's ideal.
Yeah.
We're gonna bleep that. We're gonna bleep that.
It's
Oh, yeah.
it's very cool.
No,
Like
that's cool.
you know, you have people walking around with lanyards because they're like, you have like work talks, like there'll be like music industry talks, like
Yeah.
the state of AI and the music industry. That would be a thing. But in reality, not that many people go to those things. It's more about just like who you meet on the street. Like the whole of Brighton is full. Like any festival town, you know, if you're thinking Finsbury Park, Wireless, whatever, everyone's just moving around. So like for us, the biggest thing was like, okay, like how can we maximize this? She's been invited for a show, like she's been booked for a show, which is one thing. Like a lot of artists that would go there aren't performing as well.
Yeah.
So you have like over 100 artists get booked for shows, and this is in any venue. It could be here, like literally there'll be like a mini like pub that's been abandoned, and they'll just put in a set
There's
there.
also like a fringe like called the Alternative
Carnival
Scape.
type shit. Like they just lock off the whole area.
There'll be and even like
cool
there'll be
still.
people who are there's people that are busking because they know
Yeah.
on the beach that people will be walking by, so why not just have your music playing?
Yeah.
But then literally I was walking towards meeting you at some point, and I saw a busker and there was a crowd. I actually thought I couldn't even see him. I thought it must be Ed Sheeran or something.
Yeah.
Because Ed Sheeran does that. He just
yeah.
sometimes performs or whatever, and it ended up being this guy called Sam Tompkins.
Oh yeah.
Bro, my boy put me onto him a few years ago. Yeah.
And he was just
Crazy.
busking, but the crowd was so deep because A, I think he's from Brighton. That's what someone told me.
Yeah.
But B, because he's so famous, people are like, "Well, I'm just seeing a free show here."
Yes, I'm surprised
Like,
you're doing that still. That's crazy.
yeah.
There's it's again like there's not that many events of that magnitude in the UK. You might have like a Wales one and a Scotland one or whatever,
That's
but like
rare and all that,
the
yeah.
Great Escape is where the industry is going to be for like 4 days. And so if you really wanted to go down the route of the industry and trying to connect with people, like we connected with so many amazing people and so many nice people. I went into a Five Guys at 11 o'clock at night and like spoke to a lawyer in music, do you know what I mean? But eating chips, do you know what I mean? So like you'll be queuing outside a venue and you'll be like, oh, you're a music manager. Like, what do you do? Who do you manage? Like, blah 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 blah. And yeah, it's amazing. It was a great experience, definitely.
And the UK's tiny, so like literally, and Brighton's tiny, so like you physically, it's like if that's kind of thing it was in LA, like you wouldn't run in because LA's so big, like, but Brighton's a tiny place and a tiny UK industry, and it's just like you're bumping into people.
It's a bit
There's
random.
like 3 streets.
Why is it there? It's a bit random. Like, why is the whole thing happening there? But it's definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all should go to America though. Go to
I
Florida.
wish.
Go to Florida.
We gotta go to America for sure.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah. It could be like the Florida version could be Swamp Talk.
Swamp.
I
Yeah.
That's sick.
don't know.
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
I like that.
All the lyrics. Any other?
Um,
Anything else that you're thinking of?
No, it's like again, like it's
double
the.
checking.
You know, your journey is a very interesting one because of where you're at in your career. Like, where there's a lot of industry, there's a lot of good looks, there's a lot of like press, playlisting, that sort of stuff. But then how you level that up is like the greatest challenge for any artist.
That's all.
So,
What's
Yeah.
next?
Yeah.
you know, we're looking at a lot of different things, but definitely more
Like this
music.
cycle is really good. Got really big Spotify support. They've been like huge. Spotify UK. They put me on their radar, like Spotify on the radar thing. So, and they posted about that. They like feature one artist a week. Cover of Misfits 2.0, which was really cool. Like, I've got a few like playlist covers for this cycle. Unleashed, which was appropriate for Leash, and yeah. Really cool press. There was like a line of the Best Fit article that there was a writer there, I think Orla was her name, but she just really got me. She said I had a magpie-like approach to writing lyrics, and I was like, that's fire. But I was like, yeah, that was accurate. But it's like I've now in a place where like a few years ago I couldn't even imagine like where I'm at now, but once you get to this place, you're like, it's like you're constantly moving the goalpost. It's like it's like that constant, like a few years ago, you'd be great for what you have now. And now it's just like, well, I need more and more, but I'm trying to be like, okay, this was like a really cool release, did a really cool music video for Leash where it was on a green screen, had CGI tigers. It was really cool. I am coming out with a Dream Caused by the Flight of a Bee music video that I shot, filmed, and directed and edited by myself.
Man, how was
She did
that
everything,
experience?
I was assisting on the day, but she spent 8 hours in an abandoned warehouse just like filming us and doing herself everything. Like I was just there to like carry the stuff.
Yeah.
But you just did everything. So yeah, and you're editing it all as well. Which,
And I was dumb because I was gonna do this video by myself, like without an assistant in Spain. That fell through, thank God it did, because I didn't even think of like who's gonna press record on the camera, like. So thank God I filmed it here. But I literally made up the concept the day before because my original concept was like in Spain. But so we had this abandoned warehouse that we got a hold of, and I had 8 hours and 2 suitcases of outfits my stylist gave me, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And I shot it on this like old vintage like 2008 camera, and it's like, so it has like a cool effect to it, and I just learned how to edit. It's been interesting. It's taken a little longer than I thought.
Oh, so you're learning on the process how to edit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I should do this.
I was just thinking how a lot of people, in order to achieve a goal, you form the structure of how you want to do what the steps are to achieve it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think you just go straight for the goal and then you figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think that's, again, it's a really exciting and also quite crazy process because you're literally, you were like, well, you don't even think of the logistics of like carrying all the suitcases or doing that, doing this, doing that. And that's why it's useful to have someone like me who's just like, okay, I'll follow you around, I'll just do whatever, like just, you know. So that kind of, we need that more in music. We kind of need more people that are a bit deluded. People talk about.
I didn't even think I captured the footage because I tried to plug in the SD card after and it like wasn't coming up, and I was like, oh my god, none of it recorded. I had to have
the photographer's worst nightmare, obviously.
Yeah, I had to have Pete come over and like show me to change the file name, like thank God. But I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, I don't know. I just like pressed record. I asked my DOP from the Leash music video, who's like an actual professional, Donnie, and he like has fancy cameras. And I was like, Donnie, what's like a camera that like looks like tape? And he's like, he was like, I don't recommend you start using tape like right away, because I was literally like researching like how to convert tape to digital footage for my first
Yeah,
ever
you're
video
doing that.
because I wanted
No
that
chance.
vintage feel. But I got a camera that was like just old enough,
Yeah.
but it still had a SD card. Thank
Yeah,
God, because I
yeah.
couldn't have figured out the tape thing. But that is
funny.
coming out soon. But the loose concept is like I eat these 6 pomegranate seeds like they're pills. I put pomegranate seeds in like a pill bottle, like, and I shook them out and I like ate them and I like kind of turn into the different icons based on my outfits and what I'm wearing.
God,
So that was
Yeah.
I'm
fun.
looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some choreography in it too.
Yeah.
I had a choreographer.
Yeah.
So that was cool doing that. And then yeah, and the next era will be something I can't say much about, but it's going to be a total pivot
Yeah.
again.
Nothing
Yeah.
sounds like anything you've heard. Nothing
Yeah.
sounds like anything you've
I
heard.
like
The-
it. I like it.
Inspired by psychology.
You're not-
So
you're-
I'll have to come back
yeah.
on for a psychology.
Yes.
You're not
Break
you're
them.
not really gonna anytime soon like settle on one specific sound, which is a very
Fair.
Well, directors don't. A director is seen as great by their versatility, and I don't know why artists aren't seen as the same thing.
I agree.
well. We want versatility, but we expect what we want.
Yeah, exactly.
We want
That's
what we
why I
want.
was just. That's why, like, in the intro, I call myself a hip hop ultra, and obviously, I appreciate rappers can do all sorts of things, but I prefer when they just rap
I don't
and
understand.
leave the singing to the singers or whatever.
No,
innit?
but you can't
But-
box in artists like that.
I know, because again, I should probably add hypocrite on there because
Hip hop hypocrite.
But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
an artist, you want them to make more albums like that. Like that's fair enough.
Yeah.
yeah, but like no, and I think obviously where you're the space you're in is a great space in terms of like creating and just really hungry and you can really tell that like you're about the vision and how it is creating that and like fulfilling that. So yeah, because even with the show, going back to the show, like you said, you had so many different like live aspects and things that visualize and the story behind the show, so it proper keeps everybody engaged and yeah, I think you're gonna have like a crazy career still.
I'm excited. Thank you.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'm stoked. And that show you saw, by the way, have not recreated that show. All those little interludes and everything,
Yeah.
that hasn't been on these shows.
Okay,
So that was a
okay.
one of a kind one.
Yeah.
You know the interludes I'm talking about, the stuff
yeah.
like those things.
Yeah.
Well, even like how you structure it, like for me being on tour, like my main role was, apart from carrying all the bags, was to make sure that the music was gonna, because you've got the engineer, but the sound engineer at the venue, but they don't normally get involved with the music itself.
Yeah.
It's just about their sound.
Yeah.
So for me, I had to be like, okay, this is the music, but Berry had laid out all the tracks and given like space where I didn't have to click. Do you know what I mean? So when you have a show that kind of flows a bit easier,
What,
sometimes
like a PA
it.
version of the songs.
Yeah, exactly. Like have all that, but for that show, she had even put in like random like samples or different like like half finished songs, like even songs that she hadn't that she's not even putting out.
Yeah.
She's just put that all in to like make it kind of special like that. And I think, and again, I go back to this concept. I'll always say this, but like people don't go to a show to just hear the songs.
It's
They
an
just go to the show
experience.
for the experience.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what you created still.
Yeah.
Definitely what you
Yeah.
created. And I think that's probably going to help you build like a huge cult fan base still.
Yeah.
100%.
Thank you. Yeah, I want that cult fan base
Mm.
who will understand pomegranates. Like when Tyler the Creator talks about suitcases for an hour, I'm like, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's yes. Like talk about that more, please.
Yeah.
You know.
He had a talk thing for Converse in France, was it? Mm-hmm. There's a like an hour long where he's on the stage and he's chatting to this person, all this crowd, all these Converse people, creatives, and he talks about chairs or something.
Oh yeah, he was like,
Like-
"What's your favorite chair?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, someone asked him. Actually, it was Rashaan Powell from the UK that was at that talk, and he asked Tyler, "What's your favorite chair?" And Tyler would be like, "Yeah, of course. Like this is."
That's a
Like,
good question.
Whoever thinks who do you know what I mean? We used to have a favorite color. We used to have a favorite artist. We used to have a favorite girl at school or guy at school, and it's like, and now someone like Tyler the Creator, who is a immensely like creative person,
Yeah.
beyond, like, people always bring him up in the conversation, like rapper versus artist, and of course he raps, and then but he also adds that other layer, which again someone of his career has been able to do. But yeah, that's someone that you also take a lot of inspiration from, is Tyler, Creator, for Berry's stuff. But
just because how much he pivots his whole aesthetics and his storytelling and thematics, like he sticks to like these high concepts, and his inspiration of like Wes Anderson aesthetic and stuff. Like he's very inspired by films, you know, and Switzerland, which I really like. I was never interested in watches until he was talking about his Cartier crash watch. That's how I learned about that watch, which looks like a melting clock. And that now I'm like, I never wanted to buy an expensive watch, but I was like, no, I want that watch. Yeah.
That's what I get you.
So yeah, that's he. I don't know anyone else though. Oh, and Donald Glover, Childish Gambino. He's my other favorite.
Yeah.
In terms of his artistry, spans across so many things.
Yeah.
That's God. So.
You know. Yeah, he's sick.
Yeah, I'm constantly like trying to like.
Tierra
when she
Whack.
says, Tierra Whack as well. When you say you want to write a book, direct a film, put out an album, fashion line, do you know what I mean? Like for me as a manager, it's really about, okay, well, these are all things that are going to come.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But if the foundation is what we're building is music related, then it's kind of like we have to make sure those pieces come in. But again, I'm looking forward to seeing like again what you're part of and what other artists are doing in the future. Obviously, like you got Nines' documentary, you've got Little Sims acting in Top Boy, you've got and Little Sims just put out a book as well.
Yeah.
About what?
I don't know if it's like a photo / story.
I think so.
I like her a lot.
Stuff.
She's sick.
Sims is someone who's going to define a lot of stuff in the next 10 years probably. But yeah,
I hope she blows up in America, like really, really big.
I think they appreciate again. Like I think Sims is probably appreciated a lot more in America because of that space. They obviously coined the term conscious rap, and I think people are more likely to put her in those sort of spaces. Whereas here it's like alt.
I'm subconscious. Can I be subconscious rap?
You're subconscious.
Oh my god,
rap?
that's my genre.
You could be subconscious.
Subconscious rap.
Subconscious.
Heard it here first.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And my next project, I'm producing a lot more of it myself. I co-produce everything on the last one, but this next one, I'm doing like a lot of like the initial stages, just me making up demos and stuff like that. Because
you produce as well.
Yeah.
You play instruments and that, or
Well, I guess piano.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I can play chords and stuff, and I want to learn guitar next. I really need to learn guitar because it's my favorite instrument. But I produce like a lot, but I just have never felt like, I could do like a whole project, at least a collection of songs that I can fully have fleshed out, and then maybe bring it to some of my other collaborators that I work with now to add, because I love their vibe, like co-produce it with them, but just like laying out all of the songs just myself. But now I feel like I'm like ready to do that. And I really like to produce and write like very early in the morning before anyone else is awake, like between 4 and like 7. So when no one else is awake, it's a better energy. So
that's what the millionaires are not doing.
yep, that's
The 4 a.m. wake up call.
yep. I'm the elite man.
But I think they've taken that from. Saying man them.
Can that be my AKA next time?
Yeah.
What was it? Elite Mandem.
Yeah.
I respect that. I like that.
That's also really interesting, just to go off another tangent, is like the night owl thing. Creatives are seen as like a night owl thing. And when you said to me about the lower energy because less people are awake, that's such an interesting thing.
Yeah.
If you're a creative and you're constantly being bombarded by information, the quietest time is probably the best time where you can just channel that.
But it's not just information, like people are emailing you in the day. It's like, I always say, you know how a Sunday just feels different? Energetically, collectively, everyone's relaxing on a Sunday. So like collectively at nighttime, people late at night, people are sleeping by 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m. And I think that's why a lot of artists like to work at that time, because they can feel the energy of people are asleep, and it's almost like there's less static collective thoughts going on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's my theory. and it's like an Ayurvedic theory too. Ayurveda, just
What's
like
that?
the Indian like way of living. Well, that's not a good way to describe it. It originated in India, and Ayurvedic is a way of like eating with like the seasons, and it's very complex, and I'm not describing it in a good way, but they have basically different doshas, hot, water, and wet, fire and air. Basically there's different types, and your body can be a different dosha, a way of eating can be a different dosha, and there's different times of day that are different doshas. So like between like 6 and 10 a.m. that's kapha hour. Yeah. So basically it's easier before 6 a.m. that's vata. Between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. that's vata, and 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. is vata. And vata, the vata dosha is a time of like airiness and lightness, so it's easier to wake up before 6 a.m. than after 6 a.m. because between 6 and 10 a.m. it's kapha, which is like heavier and a denser energy. And it sounds crazy, but I actually started doing this. I was like, all right, let me set my alarm for 5:30 a.m. and it was so easy to wake up before 6 a.m. than it was at like 8 a.m., even if I'd gotten less sleep. And that's because that time is easier to wake up.
That's crazy.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna try that still.
Yeah, try that.
These are all things that have been in society and cultures for centuries.
Yeah.
But our way of living is
Yeah.
so determined in so many ways. So whenever I hear something from her, like these different ways of living or different ways of seeing things, I'm like, is there sense in like? It makes sense, or it could make sense, but we never try and implement it. Like, I think the closest thing is probably like, people who do yoga 3 times a day, or do you know what I mean? Like people who connect their minds, or mindfulness, or even going outside and being with nature. You said about earthing.
You gotta earth.
So having your bare feet on grass.
There's studies linking
on
that
ground.
the more people start wearing shoes all the times, like diseases upticked, because energetically our bodies connect with the energy of the earth, like everything is magnetisms. So when you have that rubber disconnecting your feet from the earth, it causes illness.
What, on the outside?
Yeah, like walking on grass is like a therapy, or sand, or just being feet to earth, nothing else between it. It's
But
called
now we
earthing.
say it as someone who's chronically online and needs to go outside and touch grass. But I think
Oh, is that what that is?
yeah.
Oh.
But it's like, I think it's very interesting how
I'll send you a
being
documentary or two.
more connected to nature could actually improve our.
Y'all are gonna
minds.
go out in the park a few days. Mary said to do earth. Can we get a man-dem earthing group?
Yeah.
Just a bunch of rappers walking around barefoot in Hyde Park for their mental
I'm
health.
sure Koji would do that.
I feel
Koji would be
that's
able
like
to
his
do that.
vibe, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm using that word right, but I like saying it. Man-dems. I like English words. But yeah, that's earthing note. Is that a good note? Also, by how long we talked, it's so funny because I really only talked about the pomegranate and the gun. Like, see what I mean? Like, there's like 4 other icons. This is when I'm always talking with him. I'm like talking about the whole concept of leash is like I could literally talk for like 3 or 4 hours just on those 6 icons. So I'll talk about a pomegranate for 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Next time people think that a lot of thought doesn't go into music, I think that's the response really.
And I think a lot of artists have this much thought into all of it. I just think they feel like
Hey, not everyone.
no. You're like, well, maybe I just
100% not everyone.
Not everyone. I can tell you that for free.
100%.
What's up? Not everyone.
It takes time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was
that
good
fun?
still.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yay,
Alright.
this was really fun.
Yeah.
I'll definitely
no.
share it. It'll be fun to share some.
Yeah, for sure.
No, thank you guys
Some
for
clips.
coming on and that.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
This is crazy. Yeah, this, yeah, this has just left me with a lot to think about. But I like that though. I like when you spark thought and whatnot. I like that.